Hi, xin chào mọi người nha, trở lại cuộc sống Mỹ hạnh hồ. Thì hôm nay mình excited, mình mừng vui lắm tại vì mình muốn xài cái máy quay phim đó mọi người, nhưng mà mình chưa có biết cách ráp được mọi người, cho nên nhờ Andy đó, chồng của Hạnh nè, ông xã, thì nhờ ráp dùm cho ngày mai hoặc là ngày mốt mình có thể xài được rồi đó mọi người ơi. Cho nên bây giờ mình sẽ quay lại cho Andy cái cách ráp làm sao cho mọi người coi cái máy quay phim siêu nhỏ nha mọi người. Yeah.
All right, so this is our going to be the final video in the series regarding the DJI Pocket 2, the creators combo that we purchased from Best Buy. And we're just going to talk about the experiences that we had. If you saw the unboxing video that we did a few days ago, well, now you've probably had time to stop laughing hysterically over the errors that I made in some of the identification of the items as we were unboxing. So I'm going to go over those real quick and then a couple of other things, and then we'll just share with you the experience that we had overall with getting it unpacked and ready to go. So first of all, when we were doing the unboxing, we were looking at a lot of literature that was coming out, and it had the sort of quick start guide here. And then this one I mistakenly thought was a user manual. It is not. This is a disclaimer and safety guidelines. And the reason why it's so thick is because it's written in probably just about every language on this planet, and maybe even languages on Mars. I don't know. But I did read through it. It only gets about a page and a half of actual useful data, and then it goes to the next language. It does give some specifications on there, which was helpful in determining the size of the battery that is inside both the camera and the battery that is inside the wireless microphone, and kind of gives you a good idea of how long you think those would last based on what their amp hours are, or in this case milliamp hours. But also another little funny thing is under the safety guidelines, if you read through some of this stuff, you can really get a good laugh. I'll just share one of them with you where it says, do not put the product in a microwave oven.
Why did he say that?
We gotta be told not to put this in a microwave oven?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a good laugh out of that one. So it's worth the read. The page and a half that's actually in your language, it's worth the read. So the other thing is when we were unpacking, I misidentified this as a cable that would connect the camera to your computer. It is not. This is the charging cable. This plugs into any USB charger that you would plug into the wall. And then you've got two of these here because one of them will plug into your camera, or the all-in-one, which is on the front, and we'll get to that in just a second. And then also the wireless microphone. So you can charge both devices at once. They'll have a little green flashing light on them, and then when the green flashing light stops flashing, it progressively flashes faster as it gets closer to a full charge. And then once it's done flashing, then you're full charge. And that's basically how that works. This, as we were unpacking, I mistaked it for a battery. For those of you that have used other cameras, such as the GoPro or anything like that, you have external batteries to be able to use and swap out when your battery gets low, which was why when we were at the store and we were asking the associate where would we get the extra batteries from, they looked it up and they couldn't find any. Well, the reason why is because there is none. The battery is embedded into the camera device just like you would on an iPad or an iPhone that you can't get to. And so this is not a battery. This is the all-in-one device, that plugs into the bottom. It gives you the wireless connection to your wireless microphone, as well as you've got a jack on there, an external speaker, which we have used when you take a video on this. You can play back and you can hear the audio, although we've yet to find a volume control for that. I don't know if there is one, so it doesn't come through extremely loud, if you will. So if you have a lot of ambient noise around, it might be a little bit difficult to hear. But just listening to it inside, we've been able to hear it. And then, of course, it's got a microphone on there as well, if you're not using the wireless mic, and your little tripod connection down here at the bottom. The tripod is actually really cool. We've tried it out. This all-in-one just connects directly to this via the bottom, and then the only difference between the cap that would normally be on there and this is you have to actually pull that switch there down in order to disconnect it. You may notice that the camera has popped on, and that's another thing that we have really been having some challenges with. Is this is the power button right here, and it seems like every time I pick up the device to do something with it, even if I'm not ready to use it, I always end up accidentally hitting the power button, and so it'll turn on or whatever. And so that might just be fat finger syndrome, I don't know, but just be prepared that might be something that you guys also have some kind of an issue with. Is just be aware of that power button being right there. And it's just really easy that when you pick up the device, a lot of times, depending on how you pick it up, you'll push that button and you'll turn it on, even if you're not wanting to. So that was something that we kind of had going on there. Now, this is one thing that was a little frustrating with this, and I guess the reason why is just because it is something that is increasingly becoming a necessity with products that you buy, but it's also very frustrating. And that is when you buy the DJI Pocket 2, you have to activate it, meaning you have no choice but to actually download the app onto your phone and connect the device to your phone, go on and register on their site with a username, a password, start an account and all that in order to actually activate your device. Now, that's kind of frustrating. I've had that happen on another device before that we purchased without knowing ahead of time that was going to be needed. And then we end up paying the money, get the device, and then you find out that you basically can't even use it until you activate it, which requires you going on and signing up onto their website, making a connection through your phone with a Bluetooth connection, and then it activates the device for you. It's very frustrating, but a lot of companies are doing that nowadays. It seems to just be the way that they can get your personal information and start utilizing the app to track everything that you do, and it's frustrating. I know that nowadays it's become mainstream and everybody's used to it, especially the younger crowd. But I guess for those of us that are kind of old school, it's a very frustrating thing to not be able to just buy something and use it, but then you have to go through this whole system of getting it activated. Now, with that, we did download the app. As you remember in the unboxing video, we referred to the quick start guide where step number 1, and again, it didn't say anything about having to activate the device. All it said is download the DJI Mimo app and watch the tutorial videos. That was it. Again, there's also nothing on the box that indicates that you have to download something and start an account in order to activate your device. And of all of the videos that we had watched previously to kind of get the reviews and to understand that, no other content creators had mentioned that either. So again, it's just sort of the norm now that everybody just sort of takes for granted that that's the way it is. But if you're like us, you were unprepared for that, and it was a little bit of a frustration knowing that had to happen. Now, with that being said, when you turn on the device the first time without activating it, it will actually give you 5 times to be able to skip the activation step before it forces you to actually do the activation. So you can turn on the device, skip the step, and kind of go in there and on a limited basis play around with some of the settings and figure a few things out. But eventually it will not let you do that anymore, and then you have to actually activate the device. So you do end up getting forced into that at some point. There doesn't seem to be a way around that. With connecting it to a phone, that was another issue, and I'll just talk about that briefly. We have, I'm not sure where my phone is. Oh, here it is. Okay, and then I'll just do this one too. So I'm going to show you 2 different types of phones. I mean, they're both iPhones, but like one of them's an iPhone 6 and the new one here is the 11. But we've got 2 different types of cases on it. That's our kid's phone, so that's why it's Mickey Mouse. And if you have any sort of protective case on your phone, you're not going to be able to connect it up to this. And I'll show you why. Because when you take this off and you put the phone connector on there, it actually will not fit. So first of all, we've got Otterboxes on our phones. And as you can see, when you open up the bottom there, there's this big gap that's here, and you just cannot get it won't go in at all. So you actually have to take the case off your phone in order to be able to activate it. Now this is like the Otterbox Defender case that's on here, so it is really big and bulky. Excuse me. This one is a little bit smaller case. It's not quite as big and bulky, and so you can see that it doesn't have as much of a area there that is obstructive. But even trying it on this one, again, it won't go into the point where it'll make a connection. So even on something like this, you would still, with a case like this, you still have to take the case off your phone in order to connect it to the camera. That obviously can be a little bit of an issue if you are, like us, and you really want to keep the protective cases on your phone. I mean, there's a reason that we buy them, right? If you're clumsy like me and you drop your phone a lot, then you kind of need one if you don't want a spiderweb screen. So just be aware of that. You've got to completely dismantle that. I'm sure there may be some cases out there that maybe they're thin enough that you can make the connection, but certainly not the ones that we have. My son has an Android phone that also has a case on it. We put the Android connection on that phone and tried it as well. Same thing, couldn't get it to go on with the protective case on the phone. So just be aware of that, which is definitely a thing. So those seem to be the only things that really were kind of, I guess you could say, mildly frustrating with us going into it, not knowing it, and kind of figuring it out as we go along. But all in all, we were finally able to get it active. We were finally able to use it. We were able to connect the wireless microphone to it. Once you go through the activation process, the camera itself will do a full firmware upgrade download, and that took about 4.5 minutes to actually complete. And it stores firmware on there for both your all-in-one and your wireless microphone. And the reason why I know that is because even when it wasn't connected to the phone, as soon as I connected the all-in-one device, it went through a firmware upload basically from the camera to the all-in-one. That took about 30 seconds. And then there was another one on the wireless mic. The first time that we activated the wireless microphone, it also did a little 30-second firmware upload. So it was very simple to use. That it did all of that automatically, so that was kind of nice. So I guess just real quickly, I'll just kind of show you a couple of cool things. We do like having this little tripod thing on the bottom. You just screw it on, and then once you get it screwed on there, it will move in any real direction that you want, so that you can tilt your camera, and you can really get these legs set to wherever you want them. So if you kind of want it set like that, so that when you set it down, and then as you can see, you can kind of tilt the camera this way or tilt it this way, however you want. So if you kind of have it sitting up high a little bit and it's looking down at you, then you can set it up like this. Or if you've got it down on a table and you kind of need to look it up at you a little bit, then you can set it down like that. So we'll go ahead and turn it on real quick. And then, of course, the camera is now going to face you. So now you can see my beautiful wife, Han, holding the camera there, videoing all of this. That's what you can see in the screen. And so there's loads of functions on there, which there are plenty of other YouTube content creators that go over that stuff in detail. And it really is what is necessary, because when it showed in the startup startup guide to watch the tutorial videos on the app, I'll be honest with you, it wasn't an easy task, because a lot of those tutorial videos wouldn't even start, and when they did, they didn't quite play all the way through. it was almost as if you were having a bad internet connection, but our internet connection was just fine, and videos on other platforms would play just fine as well. So it wasn't that. It was, I'm not really sure why there were so many issues playing videos through the app. The other thing is the app sort of recycles videos, because once you get to the end of a video on the app, DJI says that if you want to contact them, to send them a message through Facebook Messenger. And so I thought, well, that's kind of interesting, because you're using their app, and and you're watching a video on their app, and they're telling you to send them a message through Facebook Messenger. So obviously they reused videos that they had posted up on Facebook, excuse me, on their app. So that's just I mean, obviously a company can do that, but it was just kind of interesting. So I'm going to turn this off, and I'm just going to show you real quick, excuse me, what I thought was neat about the carrying case, and that is there are slots for everything in here. Okay, so you're able to put all of the pieces that you're going to use, as well as your wide angle lens. It has a special slot for it. And then on the camera, we go ahead and take our tripod thing off. I'll put that on in a minute. There is a little thing on the back here where you can put that in. The camera itself, even with the all-in-one attached to it, slides in just like so. Okay, so you've got your little spot here. So, and then you can take your tripod and screw it in here. So basically this carrying case allows you to carry the whole thing with you. And then your wireless microphone has a slot right up here. So if you look at the clip, I don't know if you can get a good view of that on the camera, it's got these 4 little things on there. That's what helps keep it sort of attached to you when you're wearing it. And it also perfectly lines up with this little square here, so that your wireless microphone stays there. And then of course you can take your windscreen and put that on there as well. And now you've got the whole thing ready to go. You know, you can stick it in your bag, whatever it is, and it's really convenient. Everything you need is right there, with the exception of the charging cable. That doesn't really seem to have a place, but you know, it's also not something that you're probably going to carry excuse me, in a carrying case. So just thought that was kind of an interesting thing. I do like this carrying case. It is very convenient. One thing I did fail to show you when we started it up, that I thought was a really neat feature, and that is, we'll go ahead and get this turned on again. And then with the wireless microphone, there's just a switch down here at the bottom. You flip that on, and then you get a little green light that shows that it works. Now, I don't know if you can get a good look at this, but you see that little microphone icon that's right here at the top of the screen? So you might notice that as I'm talking, you see how that little microphone icon is going up and down? Can you get close in on that? So that gives you an indication that the microphone is working. So that I thought was a really good feature that this had, is that the microphone will sort of give you like a little sound bar, and that will give you an indication that the microphone is working. So as you're talking, your voice is activating that. So that's another neat little thing that they did. And so that was pretty much that. So now that we have been able to, you know, also I guess the last thing is we did get the SD card inserted right in there, the micro SD card. So it is really easy to access, so that's not really a problem. So now that we have gone through and gotten this camera completely ready to go for us, we're going to go ahead and use it for the first time, and we will be posting up a video soon, another video that we'll actually use this camera for. So that'll be nice. As Han said, she's pretty excited about it. this should be a really good vlogging camera for her. And I've already kind of gone over a few of the things with her. It seems to be relatively user-friendly. It does have a lot of functions, and the only real thing to get used to is just kind of knowing which way on that little screen to swipe to get to what function you want. And like I said, there's lots of other YouTubers out there that go over those things in a lot of detail, which is where we kind of help learn it from. And because again, there is no instruction manual, and if you go to the tutorial videos on the DJI Mimo app, you may end up running into some problems trying to play those videos. And they're really kind of geared more towards a marketing effort, it seems like, as opposed to an educational effort. And so that's why it's a really good resource to just jump on YouTube and see what some of the more professional content creators that have had a lot of experience with cameras know how to get in there and navigate those menus, and they really explain it very well. So it's a good resource, but again, it's just one of those things where once you get the functions that you're going to use on a regular basis, it's just kind of knowing which way to swipe and how to get to it fast and do what it is that you need to do. So that's pretty much it. That's all I got. I'm going to go ahead and give it back to Han, and be sure to leave a comment down on this video. Any questions, comments, or insults, go ahead and leave them in the comments. So anyways, here's Han.
So mọi người thấy sao? Nhỏ gọn vậy nè, mình cầm dễ đi ha, đó, đi vậy đó. Mình quay vậy nè. Quay vậy nè mọi người. Vậy thôi. Thì cũng tối rồi thôi, mình cũng ráng làm cái video để cho mọi người biết cái cách ráp ra cái máy siêu nhỏ này sao nha. Thì không có gì thì chúc mọi người buổi tối vui vẻ an lành, và nhớ subscribe kênh, đăng ký, share and like nha mọi người. Cảm ơn mọi người nhiều lắm nha. Bye.